This video is going to focus on characteristics of a polynomial, not a parabola, and focusing on where the graph is above the x-axis and where the graph is below the x-axis. So let's look at this example on the right. So the x-axis is here, that horizontal line, and so we want to know where is it above the x-axis. So I'm just going to highlight it. So it's here and between these places. So that is where it's above the x-axis. Again, using set notation or the inequalities. And so you could, if you wanted to, draw the line like we did in the previous video. And again, we're focusing on our x values. So from -5 to 0, it's above. So -5, and then also between -2 and 7. -2 and 7. So those are the places that the graph is above the x-axis. So let's write the inequality. And so we notice where it's above the x-axis is when x is less than -5, and then where x is between the -2 and 7. X is between -2 and +7. Now let's take a look at where it's below the x-axis. So I'm going to highlight that as well, do it in light blue here. And so it is below between the x values of -5 and 2. So it's going to be here. This is where it's below the x-axis. And then also at this point here to the right of the 7. So those are the places that it's below the x-axis. And so let's write that. So we know that the x value, so noticing it's in this blue area, x is going to be between that 5 and -2, right? And just looking at the graph, so 5 and -2 here, those are our x values. And so it's between those places. And then to the right here, so that means x has to be greater than 7. So it's all numbers greater than 7. So let's look at another example here. So we have this polynomial graph, and we want to know where it's above the x-axis and below the x-axis. So let's draw it. So these are the places it's above the x-axis. Notice I didn't really enclose the area where 0, 0 is. Now technically that spot, like right at 0, 0, it's on the x-axis. Right on it, so it's not above or below, it's on it. And so in this way, we kind of have to separate it. We're going to separate it. So again, we're focusing on our x values. So we have -5, 0, and 4. And so I'm going to put holes in all these places. And so we actually have to write two inequalities in that case. So I know we could kind of say it looks like that it's just between -5 and 4, right? But technically at the spot, it's actually on it. So we're going to split it up. We're going to say that it's above the x-axis between the -5 and 0. And also when it's between the spaces here, between the 0 and the 4. And again, that's because it's on the x-axis at 0, 0, so we're actually going to split it up. Now let's look at where it's below the x-axis, here and here. So let's just do the arrows on our one-dimensional graph. Maybe that helps you out. So on the left, it's saying that x, all the numbers less than x is where it's below the x-axis, right? It's going to continue on. And so we can say that x is less than -5, it's where it's below. And then also when x is greater than 4 is when it's above, right? Here's the 4 and it's all on the right. So let me have you try one on your own. So try out this example on the right, number 3. Identify where the graph is above the x-axis and where it's below the x-axis. Pause the video and try this out. So above the x-axis is everything pretty much on this left side. And so the values we're going to focus on will be the x is -2 and x is 5. So that's what's a little bit different than increasing and decreasing. Increasing and decreasing, it could be on the x-axis, but everything that's above or below the x-axis is going to be on that x-axis. Okay, just because of the word x-axis, right? So that might kind of help out. So we're focused on the -2 and the +5. So if we draw a number line, and if you need it, you can always do that. So -2. And really it's open circle because if you think about it, we are doing the inequality sign of just less than and greater than, right? There's no equal to. Because again, on that line, it's not above or below. It's just right on it. And then so -2, then it goes to 5. And those are the places that it's above the x-axis. So on the left side, we can say x is less than -2. And then in the middle part right here, we can say x is between that -2 and 5. Okay, so x has to be greater than -2, right? So that's what that symbol means. And x has to be less than 5. So that's why the inequality sign is facing that direction. Now, if we're looking at below the x-axis, it's to the right here. And so that will be when x is greater than 5.